Welcome to the den, the Dingus Den.
Welcome to the Dingus Den for a brand new episode of the Comic Club, where I'm joined by Salacious Rum and Bob. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, Mr. Dingus. Thank you for inviting me into your den.
Oh, absolutely.
It's nice to be here.
Great to have you here.
It's warm and cozy, I would say.
You know what?
Anyway.
I like that way, especially in this cool time of year. But yeah, we're here to talk about Alien Paradiso, the first issue that just recently came out, brand of the newest Alien series as well. I know we're both Alien fans, and so I haven't quite had the opportunity to talk about Alien here yet. So very exciting to delve into that, as that's something I've personally been following all of, for the most part, that Marvel has been doing since they got the rights to publish that.
Oh. Well, of course, I'm an alien.
Right. It fits here.
It fits. But my Earth brother Bob, he's a big Alien fan. He's here as well. I'm here. I'm here in the background, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you about this new comic line. So let's get into it.
Absolutely. Well, before we get into what this issue is about, I always like to highlight the amazing talent that brought to life this piece of work here. And so it's written by Steve Fox, penciling done by Edgar Salazar, inker is Victor Nava, colorist Carlos Lopez, and we also got a special artist, Peter Nguyen, for the Xenomorph POV, which we'll get into here in a moment, where the issue begins 18 hours from now. We see this guy as he's hiding. He hears this clattering, and we then see somebody that's running across, and then all of a sudden his head just gets sliced off. That original guy we saw starts running away towards the beach. As that cuts away, we see this alien vision, as I was just mentioning a moment ago, as he's running away from him, and we see like in the alien vision that he's like catching up to the guy that's running away, and then we see the xenomorph stab that guy through the chest, out the mouth, as he's just standing, waves of the ocean, water going everywhere. You don't typically see xenomorphs and water together like that. It's very cool artwork there. Very good. But yeah, cut back in time into the present, and it is year 2153, which is actually 31 years after the original Alien movie.
Mm-hmm.
We're introduced to Ricky Valentine and his crew, where Ricky Valentine is like this like crime lord of sorts.
He's a human trafficker. Yeah, they smuggle people.
Yeah, not a good dude. That's
no,
for sure. No, not at all.
And he's got a really cool gold arm.
Yes, you remind me of this one villain from the new Wonder Woman comics. I actually talked about it in the Wonder Woman video I did by Tom King, but it reminds me of the villain of that. I can't remember the villain's name right now, but he reminds me of that guy because he's this other guy that has like a gold arm and whatever. But anyway, besides the point, this guy's also not a good dude, and so we find out that he's there. We also are introduced to Marshall Nanda and Marshall Reeves. One of them had a nickname, Dash. That's what it was, or I think. And I don't remember, but I didn't know which one was nicknamed Dash because they never referred to the other person, other than anyway. But Marshall Nanda, Marshall Reeves, we learned that they have a mission to gather as much evidence as they can so they could stop Ricky Valentine from doing this big drug deal that would put him on top of the gangs of the outer colonies. So a big power play he's trying to do here at this resort here that they're at. This resort is like, it's a special place where it would put him on like an equal playing field, because no weapons were allowed there. And I think there's some sort of affiliation, if I remember right, where like he owns the place or has a deal with the place. That's what it was. He has like a deal, I think, with the owner. And so
Carlito is in with the cartels. I thought they were human traffickers rather than drug dealers, but you might be right on that. But yeah, the head of the resort, Carlito, is down with the major cartel, and so and you're right. The lack of weapons makes the island
yes.
a useful place for them to do business.
Yeah. Yeah. And I liked, I remember in particular, you get to see the nature of this resort in one page as well, of kind of being like your typical sort of scummy resort. Because he had this one page like focus on mother and her child, where he was like, "Oh, I want to go do, I don't remember what it was, but like go do the thing," and you're like, "Yeah, you could go do that for an
An
extra charge."
excursion, yeah, an
The excursion,
excursion.
that's right.
Yeah.
What
It's
excursion?
very Jurassic
Yeah,
Park like. I thought that bit.
I could see that. Go do the thing. But yeah. So there's just a bunch of like dialogue going along, setting up all this different stuff that goes on. But it comes to, there's the ship that comes to land, and we see there's this guy who's alone and he's sweating heavily as he comes into the meeting room. Uh, Ricky Valentine's all of a sudden just not happy about the change of like, wait, there's only one dude here. There's meant to be more of you all. That guy that's sweating profusely, he reveals that he got this opportunity to pick up something more lucrative. And Ricky was like, well, wait, hold on. We had a deal. Who is it that is, who is it that, put this wrench on our plan? And he starts to say, he says, way, and then gets cut off as he just then starts falling over and is choking. And next thing we know, a chest burster bursts out of his chest there, and we then see through that alien vision again. It like go towards this event that it escapes from. It gets away. We then The undercover agents are now thinking that Ricky is dealing with some sort of bioweapons now. The marshals stationed above signal for a full signal blackout, shut down all the exterior gates so no one or any info can get in or out.
That reminded me of Jurassic Park. It was that bit when they shut down the gates.
Yeah.
That was, I was like, oh, this is Jurassic Park. It was that bit. Yeah.
Alien meets Jurassic Park is Alien Paradiso here.
Yeah.
And yeah. And in the last page, we got the reveal that the ship's crew was also dead, each with their own holes in their chests.
Yeah, 3 of them.
Yeah, 3 of them. So
3 more chest bursters, 3 more Xenos, potentially.
Yes. So now a threat of 4 xenomorphs as the rest of the series goes on.
Not good. Not good, Dingus. 4 Xenos.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Trouble in paradise, you might say.
Yeah. So what did you think of this issue overall?
Yeah, so first of all, I think the art style is different to previous Alien comics. So
Yeah.
I'm not a huge comic book aficionado, but I did notice that the styling was different in terms of the artwork. It was an interesting kind of, they did like a time jump at the start. So what they start off slightly in the future, don't they? And then they cut, so you see there's some foreboding at the start.
Right.
And that was the first really nice piece of artwork, was the severed head. Was quite cool.
Yeah.
So I think harkening back to Aliens and having a crew of people, one of the common threads in the Alien series, you also get it in Alien Resurrection. So you introduce the Ricky Valentine's crew. So you can already tell bad things are going to happen to Ricky Valentine's crew, aren't they? And the idea of the people trafficking, that is something else that's been common throughout the whole Alien series. We saw a bit of it in Alien Resurrection, where they were smuggling people to be hosts for alien eggs. We saw a little bit of it in Alien Romulus, didn't we? Where people were forced to work,
You're right.
slave labor.
Think about that, yeah.
So in the kind of Alien universe, labor is a key commodity and people are traded, for that commodity. So that's a bit of a common theme. One of the really nice visual devices, which we've seen before, but I can't remember seeing it in comic book, was the POV through the alien. So we saw that in Alien 3. So there was a bit where you are POV and the alien running through the corridors. And I think there was a little bit of it in Resurrection, but it was quite cool seeing it in comic book form. You see it in Predator all the time, but not as common in Alien.
Right.
There was a little bit of it in Alien Covenant, actually. There was a little bit of POV stuff in Alien Covenant, I think. So that was really cool. Yeah, we're introduced to the marshals as well. That's a new idea. I think I can't recall seeing an official. Maybe the Space Marines is the close we've got to that, but an official kind of like group of
Right.
cops or something, marshals that are. So that's interesting, and they're undercover in the island. And I think this is maybe where the kind of Alien series is going a little bit. We're seeing Xenos in more familial locations, and you pointed out it's like a resort. It's a bit, tacky as well with like the add-on excursions where they charge you extra money, and
that was a big part for me of like what made this series stood out, and honestly, a bit of the other Alien Marvel stuff that came up before was like, oh, we're now seeing aliens in like this location or that location. Like I remember in particular in one of the previous series, there was like aliens out on like the farm and like a it was like a farm setting where like the people didn't quite have the technology, but like obviously it was still better technology, but like it was more of like a older sort of farmish sort of thing that they did. And like I really like that in particular, I remember. And so, but cool seeing them like also in this like location as well.
Definitely, and you pointed out the water, and so it's going to be quite cool if we see Xenos on the beach, won't it? Chasing down beachgoers or whatnot, or we're going to see them. Are they going to delve into the ocean? Are we going to get some tourists scuba diving or snorkeling? And we have seen swimming Xenos in Alien Resurrection before, so maybe we get to see that in the future as well. The chest burst art was cool, and I really like the POV art. You kind of get like a kind of a visual. It's kind of like a spectral kind of display, So it's kind of aura-like, and there's a little bit of different colors, and it's a bit blurred, and it's quite an interesting visual perspective of what it's like looking through the eyes of the alien. And I don't know that we've ever seen a POV alien burst through the chest before. Do you actually see that?
That was very interesting.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
But I like the first. It was an interesting first issue. So and it's I am interested to see where it goes, and is the Ricky Valentine cartel story going to widen out maybe into a larger story about trafficking? Maybe Weyland Yutani are involved in the smuggling somehow. Maybe they're using, some of this. Maybe they're involved in terms of doing experiments on some of the trafficked people. Who knows? So it's going to be interesting to see. There's definitely going to be a few tricks. This is going to go off in a couple of directions, I think. So it's interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, I agree. Because I felt overall this was just it's the first issue to get everything going here, right? I feel like that's how a lot of the I guess horror stuff in general, but especially with Alien series, you need that issue to get the alien threat going, right? And so it did its job, and so I think going forward, those future issues will be very exciting. I did find it very interesting. I didn't realize until you broke it down, but like how much that sort of trafficking and just the crime aspects of Alien was already prevalent in the universe, because I was reading that, and I was kind of thinking at the time, I was like, I just don't really remember that sort of stuff really being an Alien that much before. But you're absolutely right about it having those connections before, so it's not as new as I originally thought about at the time.
Well, it's because it's often not a criminal gang that's
Right.
initiating it. It's the company that is often initiating, purposefully directing things, purposely incubating,
Yeah.
the Xeno for its bioweapons, or as we saw in Alien Romulus, not just bioweapons, but they're looking for medical uses of the black goo or the black ooze or whatever.
Right.
So so it's not there's often more nefarious, larger conspiratorial plots going on behind the scenes in Alien. So, is there a bigger issue at hand here? Are the fact that Ricky Valentine and his crew are a bunch of criminals? I think they're probably just going to really serve the purpose of cannon fodder. It's a group of people
Right.
that are gonna go up against a group of Xenos, and can they survive like the Space Marines?
That'll be interesting.
We got some simp action as well. So the concierges were simps. So I'm wondering whether there's any more simps on the island, whether they are performing, other functions that hotel staff would be. Maybe there's some pleasure simps or something like that for people. I don't know. So that's interesting. And they also mentioned, and I noticed this cropping up in the nomenclature of the new Marvel comics. They're using the term Outer Worlds and the Outer World colonies quite a lot, which is straight out of Blade Runner. And obviously there was a lot of talk about blending the worlds of Blade Runner and Alien. Obviously Ridley Scott created both, directed both, and so there was a lot of talk about, are they the same universe? And
I didn't know that.
And there was a lot of seeds put in both films to kind of link the two. Obviously Blade Runner's full of simps, and so that using that term, the Outer World colonies, I thought was quite interesting. So
not gonna lie, with this series dealing with like these crime lords now doing a deal and using outer colonies, my mind went like straight to Star Wars with how you have all those factions out in the Outer Rim, as they call it there, and that's right where my mind went.
Yeah, no, I thought that as well, actually. So yeah, it's interesting that all the stuff happens on the peripheral, on the periphery, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how many issues are in
5. I just looked it up. It was 5 issues, so nice miniseries. I mean, you know what? Longer than the last one they did of 4 issues, so
yeah,
I'll take it. So we'll see how that turns out overall. I think I think it did a good job of just setting up the story. I think it's kind of a little bit too early to judge like whether how will turn out overall, but I think it's a solid start to see where everything will go. As now the threat is now open. It's good. It can get going in the future issues now. Something that's interesting as well is we're going to have an interesting, I think, triangle of threats here going against each other. We're having the Marshals as the good guys there, but then you have the two evils of the Xenomorphs and Ricky and all that and his crew there. And so I think it'll make an interesting triangle going forward in the series as well.
That's true, definitely. They definitely cheat us a little bit with the front cover, because there's a fully grown Xeno on the front cover, and there are no fully grown Xenos in this issue. So
the one at the beginning, I guess.
Cheap tactic. Is there one at the beginning?
Yeah, the one at the water there.
Oh yeah, there's a bit of a time jump. Do we see it? We kind of see. Yeah, we do see it. You're right, because it stabs the guy with its tail. Doesn't it? That's interesting.
But the cover does show them in like a tunnel of sorts, and there's definitely no tunnels here. But maybe that means this island has a tunnel system of sorts. Who knows?
Right. Do you know what was interesting as well was after the time jump, there is the intro double page where it introduces in 2000, it introduces the start of the story.
Yeah.
And what I thought was interesting was the art they used. So
Oh,
they
yeah.
put on a scanner, a Xeno scanner, over the top of a gambling roller deck. So there's obviously gambling going on at Alien Paradiso as well. So
Right.
whether that
Yeah, it's
plays
a cool
into it.
aesthetic. I like the pixel art vibe of it, especially the silhouettes of the aliens there.
But yeah, always happy when there's new Alien content, and
Absolutely.
it kind of feels like there may be some wider discussions going on at 20th Century Studios with Alien. It feels like they have there might be a story group involved. I noticed the Alien Anthology
Yeah.
Twitter account is back up and running now with Alien Romulus and everything, and so maybe there is a little bit of coordination around storytelling. Next year we're getting Alien Earth, which is aliens on Earth. So maybe we're going to get some more Xenos in more familial
Yes.
locations going forward. So
It's going to be really cool. I can't wait for that. Definitely one
yeah,
of the series I'm most looking forward to from this year.
yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah,
You're talking about the wider implications there, and even though you could read about all these Alien series that Marvel has done separately as they're each their kind of own mini series, they do have that common line of Wayland doing stuff. And
yeah.
I feel like I don't remember specifically what each of those mini series brings to the table as far as what Wayland is doing, but I feel like each of those mini series or each of those series brings something to the table, though, as far as what Wayland is exactly doing.
100%. That first Marvel series, they reintroduced the idea of the black goo, the black DNA, from Prometheus and Covenant, and then that was used heavily in Romulus.
Yeah.
So there's definitely attempts, I think, at hastening a larger, like cohesive universe,
Mhm.
even if the comics are adjacent to the films.
Right.
Feels like there's some efforts to keep things to some kind of canon.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely appreciate that, and something I never really looked into until right after Romulus came out was looking at like what is and isn't canon to the Alien universe. Have you ever looked into this? Of like there's like degrees of canon. If I remember right, there's 5 levels of canon.
Okay.
That's official. Well, this was as of a few years ago. Um, and so I'm not sure how it's now with all these new Marvel comics in the mix. But what I found interesting was anything on screen was obviously like the highest level of uh, canon.
Yeah.
So obviously that means all the movies. But notice I say on screen. Well, actually, on screen as in like some of the games. I don't think all the games. But what stood out to me was the movies matter just as much as canon as the game Alien Isolation does,
Yeah.
which
That's
I
a
found
great game.
interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but then some of the other Alien stuff I think is actually like lower tiers. But I found that interesting how those two were at the same level of canon, or in the level below. So like say that was level 5 utmost, highest priority, right? At like level 4, I then remember they're saying there is the movie novelizations were there. So any added details there would be canon, but then any discrepancies from what you saw in the movie or on screen wouldn't be canon.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. It's
interesting levels.
a little bit similar to Star Wars. I tend to get my information from. I like the Alien versus Predator Galaxy podcast. I'll listen to that. I think the longest running Alien podcast,
It's cool.
and I also like Perfect Organism. That's quite a good one. But yeah, the video games have been good. I really enjoyed Fire Team, and although that was like a
I need to
shooter,
beat that.
I know it was like a shooter, but there were definitely some interesting um
Yeah.
canon, like it opened the world a little bit, with some of the worlds and everything. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I haven't
And
beaten that game yet, but it's cool.
Yeah, and there's a new VR game that's out now that apparently is really good. I mean, I don't really do VR myself,
Oh yeah.
but it does look very good.
See, it looks really good, but I don't know if I could. I can't do horror stuff that much. Like Alien, the universe is like maybe the closest thing I've ever really gotten into out of horror stuff, to be honest. Like, but at the same time, it's a lot of sci-fi stuff, so it's not like full on horror, you know. But like, um, you know, not always compared to other properties, but
But
like
would
that
you?
game though, would probably be freaking terrifying to play though.
I reckon it would, Dingus. Would you be up for a chest burster? Would you like to have a chest burster?
You know, I don't think I like the side effect of death that comes with that.
What about if you stayed alive and you could keep the chest burster as a pet and he didn't grow?
If that means that would grow up into a full-grown xenomorph to do my bidding, I would be okay with that.
Yeah, you could
That's
ride
kind
him
of a
because he'd
scary
be your
thought.
mate. You could ride him; he'd be your mate. So
That's true. You could ride them with how big they are, and they have like
yeah,
the things that stick out on the back of them too.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
It's kind of a scary thought about like somebody taming xenomorphs. Has that been done before?
I don't think anyone's ever ridden a
See,
xenomorph, but I
we're
reckon
giving them our free ideas now.
you could write me into it. I reckon I could do it.
I know, right? Hire us as the writers. We'll come up
Yeah,
with xenomorph tamer stories there.
yeah. A monkey lizard riding a xenomorph into battle. Yeah, yeah.
You know what? I quite like that idea. That's quite amazing, not gonna lie. Oh, but yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. But yeah, this is a great issue though overall. Do you have anything else to say? I feel like we've pretty much.
Yeah, no. Just I'm glad we've got Alien Comics back. There were a lot of people bemoaning the fact that it's gone to Marvel, but I don't mind it at all. I thought the artwork was interesting, slightly different to what we're normally used to, I think, but I quite liked. There was a few standout pieces. The severed head and the POV action was quite cool.
It fits the resort vibe very much.
Yeah. I don't know whether we've got any copied work. I was mentioning to you before, there's been quite a lot of controversy with certainly the first run of Marvel Comics where were found to have traced some of the aliens, xenomorphs from NECA artwork. But I can't speak to whether that's all done and dusted. But I will definitely be buying the rest of the series, and if you'll have me back, I'll definitely look forward to discussing where this goes with you in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, if you want us to do more, let me know. Absolutely, it was great having you on to talk about this great alien conversation. You know, as it's a universe that, great universe that I don't really talk about that much. So, absolutely great to talk to you about it today. So, thank you so much for coming by into the Dingus Den to talk about this wonderful video. Where can the people find you at, though?
Thanks for having us in the den. You can find me on my channel. It's called Salacious Rum. Salacious Rum. And I'm there with my monkey lizard army. So I'm on all the medias. So come and find me and come and say hello. I won't bite, but I can't promise that Michael, the Australian pervy elf that's next to me, won't. He might bite you.
All right. Well, go check them out down below in the description below, and see you all next time. You're in the Dingus Den. Bye, everybody.
See you, everyone.
Thank you for watching this video. Before you go, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video. See you next time here on the Dingus Den.